Greetings, good people. What's up? What's happening? Good afternoon. The Open Alliance. Open Alliance. Here, we're not talking of Open AI, but the Open Alliance. Nelson Chamisa's massive comeback. Secrets revealed. This is Donald Trump. He is president of the United States of America between 2017 and 2021. When Nelson Trump of America became the president of the United States of America, nobody's never expected that he would become the leader of the nation. But by the way, what is Donald Trump's front or political party? Do we know of it? Donald Trump is his own man, and he gets the job done, not being a political party man. Now, there's a new style of politics that is emerging. It's an open alliance, and some call it modernist populism or modern populist. What does that mean? As of track record, before we go on to the points on Nelson Chamisa's new political movement. Now this new political style of populism, populist, it is something else that doesn't even have a name. But before we go there, we take a look at the record of Nelson Chamisa in the opposition position. Remember, he gets deposed off the MDC, original MDC, following the demise of Morgan Tsvangirai. We see Thokozani Coupe takes the party. Then we see the alliance, then again reconverging the alliance. All those guys, the BT guys, even from earlier on when Tsvangirai was still here, they make the alliance just a few moments or days, months before the election. The alliance is constructed quick, organized, and people enter the election. We see the alliance. Then Chamisa gets kicked out of the alliance. Then we see 3 C's, triple C. It's again organized quick. In how many months before the election? Less than 6 months before the election. This one would hatch very fast, like maybe 6 eggs of a chicken. Remember, 1 chicken egg takes 21 days to hatch. If it's 6, then it's 6 days to hatch. Now this movement here doesn't need to hatch. Remember, in politics, one thing that matters is building what they call political base. Now, what is a political base? A political base is that which is built when you have party structures to mobilize the best support or the support base. So, in the case of Nelson the Chamisa, he doesn't need a political base because he is Nelson Cham. He has the Nelson Cham. Yes, I'm talking of what we call charisma. He has that. So he has the base. Rather, what he would need is the political comeback where we are seeing right now. Remember, after him being ironically, politically dismembered on social media like X.com, a platform where we saw was major in Donald Trump's trumping that Hillary Clinton lady there. She would have done that through X.com, right? So of course in Zimbabwe, some of us are still vexed with anything to do with .com, but this is not a time that is soon to come. It is here already, shaping our conversation. So what is this new political movement and what are the structures? What does it involve? We talked about Donald Trump. Right about now, when we go to the nation of France, we see the guy they call Macron is under fire because this lady won popular vote. What is her name? Her name is Marine Le Pen. Her strategy increased her support. She was advocating for nationalism. So there's something that is called nationalism. It is part of the new political structure. Then, of course, he was pushing for things like immigration controls to resonate with what the voter would want. So she positioned herself as a populist alternative to what we can call mainstream politics or legacy politics or mainstream political parties. So right now, Macron is supposed to appoint a new prime minister, and he is in what they call a deadlock. Then from France, we see in nations like Brazil, where just things like mere zeal, we see making people there. So this is the story that we see from France there, broadcast by the Al Jazeera with this title: Macron rejects left-wing government amid France political deadlock. After his party's defeat in July election, Macron must decide who to nominate for a prime minister. So since June 7, July 2024, today is 3 September 2024, they haven't appointed a prime minister there in the France, and this is a populist that defeats the popular Macron. Now this one, she just comes and she takes everybody's attention. Big up to everybody who's watching us live right about now. To those watching us live, you can write your comments in the top chat or in the super chat. That's how I can see your name, so I can give you my shout out. Big up to Shelton Shoko there watching us live right about now. So bear with me, guys. I may be having glitches here and there and there. It's hot in here, so I just went straight into the live broadcast without clearing my cache. I should have restarted the computer first before coming to this live. What is this Nelson Chamisa massive comeback? We are getting into it. We are building the context of where this strategy has happened before. I think most of us are aware of the wars that are happening on X.com. Following the just ended SADC summit, a lot of people were angered that Chamisa did not protest, or at least say something to incite people to protest. He just remained silent on it. So we see attacks from people like Ibo Mandaza, Hopo Uchingono. Then we see Hopo Uchingono announces a government in exile. Then he expels that he announced the government in exile. I didn't do it. I didn't say, guys, I'm starting an exile, but what we are doing is we are starting a movement that is going to help people to get things like healthcare. He would backtrack. So that was a very wise move there, because when you do something, when you see there's response unfavorable, you take a step back and take other steps. Right. So this is what is happening here. What other nations, apart from Donald Trump? Brazil, there is a Jair Bolsonaro. He served from 2019 to 2022, rose to power with a populist platform that included an anti-establishment rhetoric and focus on law and order, appealing to conservative voters. Then we have Italy. Now this guy is in Italy. This one is big and interesting. They call their party Brothers of Italy, where we see the leader, Giorgia Meloni. He secured the highest vote share, marking a shift towards populism in Italy. And her platform focuses on nationalism and anti-immigration policies. Of course, she's a woman, but she's the man. Okay, the party is called Brothers of Italy. That's how powerful this power is. In Poland, we have Jarosław Kaczynski. Since coming into power 2015, his party has been implementing populist maneuvers focused on social welfare and national sovereignty. Now, back to the Zim, the vision without the triple C. Nelson Chamisa advantages as he navigates the political landscape without a traditional, formal party structure, surviving and thriving in Zimbabwean politics. This presentation outlines strategies Chamisa will adopt to maintain his influence and build a new political style, leveraging personal brand and charisma. There are brands like Coca-Cola. Then there are brands not like Tesla, but Elon Musk or Steve Jobs, not Apple. Which one is more popular, the brand or the brand? Chamisa's strong personal brand and charismatic charm leadership style are vital assets to leverage. And to leverage these effectively, he should engage with the public, where he should be meeting the people directly. Social media is real. So we meet people there, utilizing social media platforms, forming strategic alliances at strategic instances. When will these strategic alliances be formulated? The same we see happening with the Triple C just a few months before the election. Now, this thing in Zimbabwe, we can call it instant political party. And then focusing on Kumarutsu mobilizations, not grassroots. Grass Kumarutsu is not grassroots. Your grassroots is your grassroots, and any grassroots, the urban areas contribute to the maximum, to the highest percentage of voters and to the most maximally political active voters. But however, the rurals, the roots, they consolidate small numbers of voters, where we were seeing the opposition being beaten by the maximum margins, and then calculating all the votes together, balancing out, because the rural voters, they voted in their plural, but voting in the urban areas was really, really low. So focusing on grassroots mobilization, that's where he should achieve momentum, by being there in physical. Elsewhere, it's in the X.com platform spiritual. Initiatives branded. So community development initiatives, those programs that address local issues, should remain there. In the 1990s, where we saw people like Edgar the Tekere, those days, what was popular was cooperatives. Those days, political parties were not talking of giving people projects, because projects would come after empowerment and people are being given chicken projects, etc. So they're called community development initiatives, cooperatives, and another implementation is civil society inclusion. Now, civil society inclusion, those are foot soldiers that already exist in all the areas. There is no place without a civil society. So civil society, I didn't know what it meant last month. Still, I don't know to the maximum. But civil society basically means those guys who start NGOs, those organizations that stand for something. So that's what we call civil society, non-government aligned. I didn't say anti-government. Of course, the reason for an election is to get into government. So those ones, it is manpower already there. It is already centered in the areas and mobilized. So that would be intertwined with community development initiatives. Civil society, its initiative, it is there forever, and people will hold it dear. This civil society organization has achieved this in this community, and people will know it for that. Some of the projects people have been doing in communities, apart from development initiatives, as in developing the people themselves, things like digging boreholes. It wouldn't make logical sense if one would calculate at a grander scale that a borehole with a 5,000 or a 10,000 liter tank cannot support a community, even of one street, even just a small garden of half the size of a football pitch, maybe 1.5 hectares. So those things would not work. And every time people see any borehole with a solar panel on top, it is not working, and it reminds them how these politicians are playing with us. Adapting to a changing political landscape. The political environment in Zimbabwe is dynamic and often hostile. Now, it will take a hostile for Chamisa to remain adaptable. Reassessing the stratum and the strategies. Evaluating approach to ensure alignment with the defining of political patterns. political fashions, political evolution, political growth. Coming from the days of feudalism, socialism, communism, many other isms, democracy, and other fallacies like we see in North Korea. How much has this democracy evolved? Democratic style of politics, the approach, since when? Since 18 something. So the modern one we have is older. And now we are seeing a shift. We're seeing shift in Africa. We're seeing shift in SADC, shift in South Africa. In South Africa now, we are seeing the GNU and everybody in political parties when they be speaking to each other. Like Gayton Mackenzie talking to Ramaphosa, say, I see the G in you. And of course, Ramaphosa to Mackenzie will say, I used to think you are a Benzi. No, you are not a Benzi. All right. And we see even guys like Jacob Zuma there, from being perceived a small guy, he just zooms into the scene, getting a percentage of more than 15 votes. And now he's running the thing, and Julius Malema is left with weight on his heart after Shivambu goes out of the party. And it's a big whip Jambu there on the EFF. The new political movement is basically a political reform. All for Nelson Chamisa is there, just like as was in the case of Morgan the Tsvangirai. He was an entity, he was a brand, something that we all know. The support is there even before we see the MDC back in the days where he is still in this not ZCC, but ZCTU. And on the ZCC, last election we see ZANU-PF employs that strategy, and they entered my church, and they were in my church one loyalty. If they just pledge in the bottom of vote G. So basically, this is the new movement, the open alliance, leveraging personal brand and charisma, forming strategic alliances, collaborating with other parties, either individuals as parties or political parties or civil society organizations as contributing parties, NGOs, grassroots movements to amplify the message and gain broader awareness. The support is there, but you have to last for the period before the election comes to pass. Adapting to political landscape changes. Community development initiative, reassessing strategies, being open. Remember the approach of citizen-oriented. Citizen-oriented is not nationalist, it's national. National-oriented. The focus is to build the nation. So, in the open alliance, it is open for everybody. So there is that inclusivity, not exclusivity. It would bring the same sentiments as the South African GNU is bringing. In South Africa, There's some people who are angry about the ANC. Some are angry about the DA. Some about the Freedom Fund and all the other political parties, which I don't necessarily know by head. But the GNU, nobody hates it. I'm not necessarily saying everybody loves it, but those that don't love it, they don't hate it. Those that don't necessarily love it, don't hate it. Rather, it is being given a chance. Let's see. Will this work? It's highly likely to work. It's highly likely to work. I like it. I like it. It's better than what was there before. So it may be the best thing to happen for South Africa. Finally, the youth, emphasizing youth engagement. How is youth engaged? The youth is engaged by creating a movement, a culture that is followed, a culture that adheres to an identity. Will this culture adhere to an identity of showing red cards, like we see the young man coming from the University of Zimbabwe, from the Students' Union in the 2000s, showing the red cards? Chinja MDs in this show. Red card. Was it the culture there? And now, on social media, is the only red card we see the hashtag, or trends are set sometimes by just a simple sit and thinking maybe for 7 days or just 1 week. Following that, one would emerge strong. Only time will tell in the long run. So long. Dr. Clarence is the name. TV7 Live is the channel. As always, thank you for watching. Asante sana.